It surely would be irresponsible for the government to say, we're not going to put him on the no-fly list no matter what.
Yes, Your Honor.
We put him on earlier for some particular reason. We've now found out he has a nuclear weapon, but we said we wouldn't put him on, so we're not going to put him on. I don't see how you can ask them to say anything more than what they've said. Now, maybe we'll decide that that's not enough, but you can't really expect them to say more than that. He's not on the list. As far as we know, any other reason, he's not. We're not going to put him on the list for the same reasons.
Well, for example, Your Honor, they could moot the procedural due process claim without disclosing any reasons at all about why Mr. Fikre was put on the list, because that just deals with the procedures itself. On the reasons, you're right, Your Honor, that it's up to the government to decide whether to disclose or not to disclose. And if the government chooses not to disclose, that doesn't mean that they've lost the case. Instead, it just means that they have to defend it on the merits.
Well, I appreciate that you're right, but that's not what I was saying. I want to know, am I right about the idea that there's no way they could say anything about what the future would hold in terms of the national security interest? They can't say you've got a, free pass, whatever you want to do, we're not going to put you on the no-fly list.
Of course not, Your Honor. And I think the government has made it easy by saying nothing at all about what it'll do in the future, but it could have made a limited promise. It could have said, we disclosed, we put him on the list for a mistake, and now we've addressed that mistake, and we think that this explanation shows that mistake is unlikely to recur. Or they said, we disclosed the reasons, we identified that they're illegal in X, Y, and Z manner. That's against our policy. So
well, but that's why I wonder if you're going back to the situation where you're insisting on a statement to the effect that they were wrong. It was, in fact, you said it was a mistake or whatever. And mootness has never required that type of determination or that type of assertion. It's just solely, it's forward-looking, and that's the only, you're not entitled to establish mootness, a determination that what they did in the past was wrong.
Yes, Your Honor, we agree with that repudiation is not required, but repudiation is forward-looking even though it deals with the past. For one, if a party acknowledges that what they did was illegal, was wrong, or perhaps was not what they would want to do or how they want their program to work, that's an example of a government moving away from its prior decision. And the humble the humble point, jurisprudential point of repudiation is that a party that steps away from what it's done in the past is less likely to repeat that behavior in the future. And
well, but already we said no matter how vigorous the dispute remains between the parties, that's not the question.
Yes, and in already, the Nike had made a promise to already that covered every shoe that it's currently making, every shoe that it had made in the past, and any future imitation of those shoes. That would be like, instead of the court right declaration saying currently available information, it would said, we disclose, here are the reasons we put you on the list. We promise not to use those same reasons again in the future, and enumerated them. That's not what the government did here. And because the government didn't take one step towards Your Honor's position, it simplifies this court's analysis. There's simply no repudiation. There's an embrace of their past conduct.
Does that mean